So, as we heard, Jesus is approaching Jericho and nearing the end of his journey to Jerusalem. Our text this morning is right in between, sandwiched in between two other texts that also talk about sight, or the inability to see. Prior to our text, Jesus tells the disciples point blank that he is going to die and be raised again. But the disciples can't see. They can't see and they can't understand what in the world he is saying to them. And then following our text is the story of Zacchaeus, who cannot see the corrupt life that he is living because he is making so much money off other people. And it's also about others who cannot see the healing that Zacchaeus needs and that Jesus does. So today's text, as Jesus walks along, he is preparing them for when he will no longer be physically present with them. He teaches them how to carry on his ministry of healing and reconciliation. Consider it, I don't know, some sort of traveling school. Traveling school that moves from place to place. As the context changes, Jesus teaches a lesson, teaches the disciples from within that changing context. And at every location, there's an object lesson. So today's lesson is about seeing, no surprise there. It's about first seeing and then living out God's intent of healing and reconciliation to all people. Jesus teaches the disciples how to recognize, how to see opportunities to bring healing and reconciliation to others, to those in need. And in some ways, the disciples are like the man they encounter near Jericho, who the crowd cannot see. The disciples are kind of walking around in the dark. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking we can't be too hard on them because maybe they resemble us from time to time. So here's the man who cannot see. So as we talk about this, it's so easy just to read a story and say, oh, great, he was healed, everything's fine. But think about what that means to really not be able to see as I'm talking. The only source of livelihood this man has is to sit along the road begging to people that pass by for any little bit of money they might spare. So here he is, he's sitting, he hears all this commotion and wonders what in the world is going on. Somebody tells him Jesus is walking by. When he learns that Jesus is walking by, he shouts out, "Son of David, have mercy on me. Have mercy on me." He can see what the crowd does not see. He can see that Jesus is the messianic Savior who is promised through the Davidic line. He can see that Jesus is the Messiah. Nobody else gets that. They can't see it. The man can identify that Jesus is bringing and will bring the ministry of healing and reconciliation. The crowd who really can't see Jesus or Jesus' ministry, really, when you think about it, they don't even see the man who's sitting there, do they? They ignore him. The only time they see him is when the man starts shouting, and then they tell him to be quiet. And then he shouts even louder. They do not even see that this man is in need of healing. Jesus stops abruptly and asks someone to bring the man to him. That encounter between Jesus and the man is very brief, but it changes the man's life forever. As we heard, Jesus asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" The man answers, "Lord, let me see again." Jesus says, "Receive your sight, your faith has saved you." And that's it. That's all there is to the interaction. Very short. When Jesus heals him, all of a sudden, the world opens up to him. He can see. Think about it. He can see. He is no longer alone and isolated in the dark space he has been. Because he can see, he can now earn a living. He is restored to community. He doesn't have to sit outside the city anymore. He can be part of the community. He can live among others. The man's life is changed forever in so many ways. And then, this is interesting, when the man is healed, miraculously, the crowd's vision is restored. They can see. They're praising God for what happened. As I was thinking about this text, I kept going back to the words, Lord, let me see again. I think those words are worthy of us requesting of God on a daily basis. How is our eyesight? Perhaps our eyesight has slipped away little by little and we don't even realize that we're not seeing clearly. You know how it is when you go get, for those of us who wear contacts or glasses, when we pick up our new glasses, our new prescription, it's like a different world. We can see. We didn't realize what we were not seeing until we have our new glasses. So I told you I promised you a brief reflection, and it will be. And I was thinking about some questions, more questions, I was asking to myself as I was writing. And I'm going to offer them to you now to ponder. Not just today, but this week. Can we see God's wildly compassionate, unconditional love for us? For us. Each one of us. Do we see that and take it in every single day? Do we see those around us who are in need? Or do we not notice, like the crowd and the man who couldn't see? Or is it maybe that there are so many people in need that it overwhelms us? And then we just feel like we just have to close our eyes for a few minutes and, not look. Are priorities obstructing our vision, our sight? Has our world, our own world, become so large or so important that we really cannot see what God is calling us to? Close your eyes for a moment, if you would, please. And just keep them closed. I'll let you know when to open. Just listen. Lord, let me see again. Are we taking God for granted so that God has become only a dim image? Lord, I want to see. Are we missing the spaces where God is at God's healing and reconciling work because fear and worry have become our blinders, obscuring our vision of hope? Or is it possible we are wearing blinders that prevent us from seeing God's image in every human being, even in those who are not living in the likeness of Christ? Lord, let me see again. This time say it with me, if you would. Lord, let me see again. You may open your eyes. May these words be our prayer as we begin every single new day with fresh, new eyes to see God's loving presence and the spaces where God is already at work. Lord, I want to see. I want to close with a blessing from Jan Richardson. Where the light begins. Perhaps it does not begin. Perhaps it always was. Perhaps it takes a lifetime to open our eyes, to learn to see what has forever shimmered in front of us. The luminous line of the map in the dark, the vigil flame in the house of the heart, the love so soaring we cannot keep from singing, from crying out in testimony and praise. Perhaps this day will be the mountain over which the dawn breaks. Perhaps we will turn our face toward it, toward what has always been. Perhaps our eyes will finally open in ancient recognition, willingly dazzled, illuminated at last. Perhaps this day, the light begins in us. Perhaps this day, the light begins in us.